What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another podcast, another YouTube video, and another community post. Just so you guys know, to everybody who's listening on the podcast, and then everybody who's also listening on the community, and then also on my YouTube, I'm posting these videos all over the place. So in today's episode, what we're talking about is overcoming resistance, and this is the key for building consistency in your fitness journey. One of the main things that I've battled with in my own fitness journey, but also my own life with building a successful six-figure coaching company online, and just in my own experience competing in bodybuilding as a pro natural bodybuilder, competing as a, average, very beginner powerlifter, marathon runner, it's resistance. Resistance is the biggest thing that everybody struggles with. And one of the great books that I'm reading right now is it's called The War of Art. And it's literally one of the best books I've read on resistance. And to quote the person who wrote this book, so then that way I can quote them, Somerset Maugham, Maugham, is the author of the book. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. That's my fault. But I want to talk about this. So resistance is the mental barrier that pops up when you're trying to stay consistent with your fitness goals. It's something that shows up when you least expect it. And let's face it, we literally experience it every single day for the most part. But I think something that a lot of us struggle with is I think that we all expect things to kind of be easy, or they should be easy, or we should feel happy doing things. And I think it's really hard. And it's not something that's talked about a lot in people's adult lives. I think that's one of the bigger reasons, or I guess one of the bigger things that I've experienced transitioning into an adult from 18 to now 25 years old is resistance. Because think about it. I think I'm a good example. I'm in control of my day. I'm in control of my business, whether my business grows or not. I'm in control of my fitness completely. Nobody else tells me whether or not to get it done. It's not like I have a parent or somebody else being holding me accountable. So I'm in my life, I'm literally the one person to hold myself accountable and have held myself accountable the last 5 years or so. And that's really hard. It's really hard to do. And just give me one sec. If you're tuning into the Zoom, or if you're tuning into just the live call right now, I'm going to talk to you afterwards. Just stay muted because I am just recording a podcast as well. So anyways, in my adult life, resistance has been one of the hardest things that I would say that I've struggled with, because when you struggle with resistance, when you're oh, I'm not able to do something because I completely don't feel like it, or I'm completely burnt out. I feel like it's one of those things that you relate back to yourself personally, and then it you kind of compare it to yourself, and it diminishes your self-worth, and you're fuck, I'm not good enough because I can't do it. But it's something to understand. When I was competing in bodybuilding, I had a much more serious and intense goal. When you're competing in bodybuilding, your one goal is to show up to the stage at the best that you can possibly be, and to also fit the requirements to compete on the stage, right? So what matters is showing up no matter how you feel like it. This is another really good example of overcoming resistance and getting extreme satisfaction out of completing a goal. And I always reflect on the goal of competing in bodybuilding, which is, I would say, one of the main reasons why I did compete in bodybuilding 5 times naturally, and just dedicated a lot of my life to it, a long time. I would say that it was simply because it was a goal that you continuously have to show up to no matter what, day in and day out. You have to do your cardio at a certain way. You have to train a certain way. You have to eat a certain way. To what? To lose body fat, to get a certain result. And it's kind of you can't really flirt with resistance at all. You literally just have to show up day in and day out. And so even though it was tough, I did it because I had a goal that was much bigger than just how I looked. I needed that focus, that drive to get through the grind. And the major goal that I had was to, prove it to myself that I could do something really hard. So fast forward to now, I'm not competing anymore, but I still have a serious commitment to strength training and muscle building. The workouts that I do now, they have to fit my schedule so I can still look good and feel good and get the mental release that keeps me sharp for the day. And it's like that time of the day that's kind of like a little bit of a therapy session sometimes. It's like, that one like little break in the day where I can kind of just like enjoy myself. I have a couple of those breaks through the day, but it's like one of the major parts about why I love fitness. You get to lift some iron, you know what I mean? You get to listen to music, you get to look good and feel good. And there's a lot of satisfaction behind doing that. The intensity of my training is different, but the lessons remain the same. Showing up consistently is how you make progress. So, how do you overcome resistance in fitness? These are some actionable tips that you can start with today. Number one, I know that this is like super redundant, but you have to start with the why. Sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the daily grind of workouts, but it's important to remind yourself why you're doing it. For me, even though I'm not competing, I still show up because I want to feel strong. I notice that when I miss a week or I miss 3 workouts, I feel like dog shit. And then I go back and I have a hard week of working out or a couple of good workouts and I feel mentally clear. It's just something about us as human beings. Like, we're built to build things. We're built to work. We're built to do. You know what I mean? But there's a battle with it because sometimes we can overdo it, which then creates even more resistance. Sometimes we can underdo it, which means that we're not progressing at all. But there's a fine balance because when you work out, you get the mental satisfaction. It lowers depression. It lowers anxiety. It makes you feel better. And so even though I'm not competing, I still show up because I want to feel strong, have the energy to crush my day, and maintain the mental sharpness that I need to succeed in everything else. So ask yourself, like, what is your reason? Is it to feel better, look better? Or maybe is it just for mental clarity? Whatever it is, anchor your workout to a purpose beyond just the physical results. Like, for example, when I was competing in bodybuilding, it's so easy to just compare yourself to other competitors. And one of my main rules whenever I competed in bodybuilding was like to not look at the other competitors. So then that way you don't get it in your mind. About like other people's results. It's kind of like what I do throughout my day now, being a business owner who's online. Like, I don't scroll social media and look at other people's stuff because, like, for the most part, I try not to. I sometimes do, but for the most part, I'm not just randomly scrolling because I end up comparing myself. I end up saying things that other people say. I end up, kind of getting influenced a little bit. You have to be careful with what you take in. And so ask yourself, what is your reason? Is it to feel better, look better, or maybe it's just for mental clarity? Whatever it is, anchor your workout to a purpose. For me, in my life right now, it's to feel good, look good, be healthy, and have fun. Like, that's simply it. And that's what I love about working out. You know what I mean? Obviously, it comes with some hard stuff sometimes. Sometimes I don't want to work out, but that's also another part to it. It's like to defeat the mental resistance of doing something that's hard and then proving it to myself that I can do it, which is another thing to help you beat resistance, which is what your workouts can serve as an anchor for. Break it down. This is the next one. It's easy to get overwhelmed thinking that you need to do a full-on badass workout, like max intensity, as hard as you can possibly do every single time. But the thing with training, which is why I'm a coach, and this is something that I've learned even over the years, because I used to train 2 to 3 hours a day, like basically almost every day of the week, burn myself out, tax my nervous system, didn't gain strength, didn't build muscle. And it took me up until I would say this last year when I competed in powerlifting, even though it was still a focus before, but I learned it even more in powerlifting because you really have to manage your CNS. You can't work out super heavy all the time. You hit a PR last week, you should not be hitting PRs last week. You should be dropping it by 40%, working with those weights, 30% even, and just like, you're usually working at about like, 80% to 90% of your max effort for working weights, for powerlifting, for bench, squats, and deadlifts. So if you take that idea, it's like, and then you feel so much better with training too. So if you take that idea, it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be working out at max intensity all the time, max weights all the time. It's a little bit different if you're trying to have quicker workouts and if you're trying to see results faster, because sometimes you do need to do it that way. And that's a different approach to take. But in general, if you're kind of feeling like, well, here's a rule of thumb, every 6 weeks, you should take a deload week. Like if you've been training hard and pushing yourself for 5 weeks, every 6 weeks, you should take it easy for a week. You know what I mean? Like, just don't go as fucking heavy because you need to give your body that break. Otherwise, you're going to tax your CNS. You're never going to build muscle, blah, blah, blah. And an important note as well is after that 6 week mark, You should come back to not lifting the weights that you were lifting before at your max intensity, but you should be maybe lifting a little bit below that, 5 to 10% below that, to then rebuild yourself back up even a little bit past that. So that it's like every single 6 weeks you're making incremental progress, but not like full-blown max progress all the time. But something we do, and I've seen a lot of people do this, and this is a big mistake that a lot of like average Joe gym goers, I'm kind of like, I like to call myself an average gym goer, but at the same time, like, because I like the basics, I like the fundamentals, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, it's so easy to slip into that mindset where you feel like you need to go ham all the time and then you don't listen to your body. But listen to your body. So break it down. Like, sometimes you don't need to do the full intense workout. You're much safer to just dial it back during those workouts when you don't really feel like it. Dial back the weights by 5 to 10%. You know what I mean? Go a little bit lighter. Just don't do as much, don't go as hard, and you'll feel a lot better. And if you've been feeling that way for a couple of days, like, do that for the whole week and then get back into the flow of trying to progress again. Sometimes you just need to step away a little bit in order to progress again. Number 3, embrace the imperfection. Back when I was competing, it was all about perfection. And I did this for years, you guys. Like, even if I wasn't competing, even if I was only competing once, perfection was the name of the game. Like, I had to be on point, especially with what I do for work. That's one of those things that I also have battled with over the years. But like, perfection was the name of the game. You have to hit every workout exactly right. But for me now, it's more about showing up and just doing the best that I can, which I'm going to tell you right now, it's a saving fucking grace. And one of the main reasons why I see people fail in their fitness journeys is because not that I've told them to do it this way, but like, they have this idea that they need to be perfect all the fucking time. But I'll tell you what, it gives you a lot of grace when you know that, like, you don't have to show up at your best all the time. Like, there's this pressure to do it a certain way. Ease up a little bit. Trust me, you'll feel a lot better. And at the same time, don't wait for the perfect day to work out. Like, the perfect day and the perfect workout doesn't exist. That's the best thing about weightlifting. It's kind of like cooking. You can always take away ingredients, you know what I mean? And just kind of like perfect the recipe for what you need, you know what I mean? But the same for workouts during your day. Just kind of, sometimes you do got to tweak it a little bit. Still follow your plan, but still tweak it a little bit to make sure that you have a good workout. And then define what a good workout is. I'm sure that that's just one where you feel good. You know what I mean? Number 4, set mini goals. One thing that helped me overcome resistance when I was competing was setting small achievable goals every week. This could be a strength target like lifting heavier weight, or something as simple as sticking to your workout schedule for the week. These mini wins help you feel a sense of progress without the pressure of an ultimate goal, and this will keep your motivation alive. Or it could even just be like, listening to yourself today because you're really not feeling it. That could also be a mini goal. 5, mix up your workouts. As much as I love strength training, I know how easy it is to fall into a routine that becomes mentally exhausting. So I don't constantly mix things up, but I do mix things up here and there. And you're allowed to do that. It really depends on your goals. Like, unless you're competing in powerlifting where you have to like literally stick to bench, squat, and deadlifts every single fucking workout, like, you can swap up your workouts here and there. It's, even for my clients who are listening, if you're more about the lifestyle aspect, like, that's also another way to kind of have a little bit more fun. For me yesterday, for example, I was at the gym and like, it was bench press day, right? And I'm still trying to follow a powerlifting split, kind of, but I know that my work outweighs me spending an hour waiting for a bench. You know what I mean? So I'm like, instead of that, I'm just going to do dumbbell bench. And I cut out a few exercises from that workout, but I just made it work within the time that I had. Mentally, you know what I mean? Because, like, you have to adjust. And if you don't, it can cause a lot of problems. You know what I mean? So, try new movements, switch it up from time to time. I would say in general, like, a new workout plan change can happen maybe every 6 to 12 weeks, like every probably, I'd probably say 2, 3, maybe 6 months. You can get a full workout plan change, but in general, your workout plan should always be like specific for your goals, right? And that can look so different in many ways. Number 6, be kind to yourself. Resistance thrives on self-doubt when you're doubting yourself. And the worst thing that you can do is beat yourself up when you feel unmotivated. Give yourself some grace. Some days will be harder than others. Take it a little bit easier those days. It's not just about constantly grinding. One thing that I've learned about resistance is that, like, when you get to the point of burnout, you might need a little bit of a mental break. But when it comes to resistance in general, sometimes it really is just about showing up and doing what you can do today, which means maybe not all of it. You know what I mean? Like, for example, in the book, he wrote about one point where, you know, he starts his day, he sits down and he worked on a book that he's working on, and he gets mentally exhausted at about 4 hours, and then he stops. He puts it away for the day. Was it the best session? No. Did he, you know, write the best that he could? No. But he put it down, didn't think about it, put it away. That's it. You know what I mean? And the same goes for your fitness. You know what I mean? It might not be the best workout every time, but try and be like a little bit more loosey-goosey about it. Trust the process. As I said earlier, I'm not competing anymore, but I still trust the process. I still get my workouts in. I still have a schedule to follow. I'm still seeing results. I don't expect overnight success. I'm building muscle. I'm staying lean. And, you know, that the lifestyle building aspect, it takes time, but you have to figure out a way to make it work with your life. And I hope that this gives you some insight on how to do that. So here's the bigger picture. In the book, The War of Art, Steven Pressfield, oh, dude, I totally said the author's name wrong. What am I talking about? Oh, the story was about Summer Mock. Never mind. The author is Steven Pressfield. I fucked up. But Steven Pressfield talks about the force of resistance, which is that internal voice that makes us doubt ourselves, procrastinate, avoid doing what we know that we should. Whether it's showing up for your workouts, sticking to your nutrition, or maintaining consistency, resistance is the inevitable force that we all face when working towards something important. Pressfield shares a great story about his friend Somerset, who asked if he wrote only when he felt inspired. His response was, "I write only when inspiration strikes," but he added, "Fortunately, it strikes every morning at 9 o'clock sharp." That's consistency. The only way to beat resistance is literally by showing up even when you don't feel like it. You want to feel self-worth? Start doing things that are actually worthy. By showing up even when you don't feel like it. Physically starting the work, even if it's just sitting down at your desk to begin to write or stepping into the gym. You're already setting in motion the chain of events that will lead to success. The hardest part isn't the work itself, it's starting. Once you do, momentum takes over, and sometimes, you know, it's that starting feeling, like, get used to it. Get used to that starting feeling. It doesn't mean, you know, like, the feeling of starting over or having to start, it's just constant. It's never just going to come to you. Even for me, that's resistance. You know what I mean? But you just have to get used to that one feeling of just starting, going, picking up motion, and just getting her done. So here's your call to action. If you've been feeling resistance today, remember that you don't need to be perfect. Just show up, start small, embrace the imperfection, and trust that every step forward is progress, because it is. Take action today, even if it's only for 10 minutes. It doesn't matter where you start. Like, literally does not matter. You just have to start. And as long as you're moving forward, the journey of feeling strong, looking good, and staying mentally sharp starts with that first step. And that's it, you guys. If you do start something in this way and you use this mindset, message me about it. Message me what you did to hold yourself accountable. I'd love to hear it. But thank you guys so much for showing up to the podcast, the YouTube video, and also the live call in my community. I'm going to step off of the podcast and the YouTube video, so make sure that you follow, like, subscribe, whatever it is. Show some love, share it with a friend. It really helps the podcast, and I appreciate your guys' love always. I'm putting out podcasts and YouTube videos every single week, so just make sure to stay tuned because content is always revolving. But I'll talk to you soon. Have an amazing day. Much love and peace out.